Hi, thank you so much for joining me today for this special Together House Party yoga practice. My name is Laura and I'm really pleased that you could join today. So, through the wonders of modern technology, even though we can't all physically be together, we can be connected through the internet. And so here I am in sunny Spain, sharing this practice with you today. So when I was thinking about togetherness and how this class may shape up, the thing that I thought of first was how we all breathe. Every single living creature, being on this planet breathes. So today will be quite breath focused, as that's something that we can do, every one of us, all together. We'll also be working to open our heart space, open our chests, giving ourselves some love and preparing to take that off the mat and sharing that with the rest of the world. So this class should be, hopefully, happy for everybody. There's no specific props needed. If you do have a block, then they're always quite nice to set up, but you can use a cushion or a towel. And you may see that I've got a long sort of sausage, that's just a blanket rolled into a sausage, and we'll be doing a pose towards the end called supported fish. And you might like to have a blanket or a towel so that you can join us in that posture. You can also use a yoga mat that's rolled up. Yeah, so hopefully being in your own homes, you have access to some DIY props for the practice today. So we're going to begin in a comfortable seated position, and that may be sitting cross-legged on the floor. You could sit against a wall and prop yourself up, or even practice in a chair. And there'll be some poses later on that if working from a chair feels more comfortable and more stable, then you're very welcome to have a very sturdy chair, preferably without arms, nearby on hand to use as an extra prop. So, taking that moment, once you've found your comfortable seated position, to connect through the sit bones, to allow the spine to grow nice and tall, maybe beginning with some very gentle shoulder rolls, just easing up the spine, the neck, a little movement side to side in the spine, finding a nice long neck and extending through the crown of the head. So imagine that you have a beam of light pointing from the crown of your head, and wherever your crown points, you're sending that light up. So at the moment, we're pointing it right up to the sky. You can close the eyes or soften the gaze and connect with your breath. Following its journey through the body, noticing which parts of the body move as you breathe. And knowing that everyone else joining this morning and every living being across the planet is having the same journey with the breath. And noticing the quality of your breath today, without trying to change anything, just observing how it is at this moment in time. I'd like to begin with a little tapping exercise just to help get some energy moving through the body, and especially around our respiratory system, so that we can hopefully take some bigger, deeper, more energetic breaths. And by energetic, I don't mean just getting more energy, more prana, more of that vital life source into our bodies. So we're going to start by taking the middle and the index finger, and we're going to be tapping along the edge of the cheekbone. So we're looking for quite a rhythmical tap, and as firm as you can. So if it feels tender, be gentle. If you can take a little bit more pressure, then maybe a little bit harder. And our breathing is nice and steady throughout. Great. And then we're going to find our collarbone. And then underneath the collarbone, we're going to slide the 4 fingers towards the center, and we're going to tap here. Into the thymus. Helping to support our immune systems. Nice. Next, we take one hand, we're right in the center of the breastbone at the sternum. Deep breaths. Maybe you can already feel a little bit of tingling sensation, maybe under the eyes or under the collarbone. Great. And then the last point, so just under the armpit, and about an inch or 2 up from the bottom of the ribs. And you can usually find this point because it will feel perhaps the most tender. So maybe start with a gentle sort of rub. And then if it feels okay, you can tap. So really deep breath, especially if it's a little bit sensitive. So this is also linked with our immune system. And in traditional Chinese medicine, this is the end of our spleen meridian. Deep breaths, one more. And then just give it a gentle massage. Bring the hands to rest on the knees. And taking some deep breaths. Perhaps noticing any changes in your breath. Maybe how you feel. Maybe you feel the heart rate is increased ever so slightly. I'd like to begin a pranayama, a breathing exercise that works on balancing the left and the right sides of the body. So it's a very calming and grounding breath called Nadi Shodena. So with the left hand, you're going to place it palm up on your knee with the thumb and the index finger joined and the other 3 fingers stretched away and joined together. So this is Chin Mudra. With the right hand, you're going to bring the index and the middle finger into the palm and be using the thumb and the ring finger to alternately close the nostril. So the thumb is against the right nostril and the ring finger against the left. So taking a moment just to find that length in the spine, root down through the sit bones, beaming that light up to the sky, stacking heart over hips, head over heart, rolling the shoulders down the back, feeling lots of space in the torso, the waist, the chest to breathe. So we're going to be matching the length of our inhales and our exhales. So maybe that's for a count of 4, 5, 6, whatever feels comfortable for you. And if this alternate nostril breathing, for whatever reason, doesn't feel like you're getting enough breath into the body, then come and sit with both hands resting on the knees and breathe naturally. So the pranayama is all about breathing, and so that is the most important thing, that you feel comfortable breathing. So we're going to do 6 rounds in total. We'll do the first 2 together, and then I'll allow you to do the next 4 rounds at your own pace, following the length of your inhales and exhales. So to begin, we're going to gently close the right nostril, so it's not forceful, you're just gently making a seal, and the elbows away from the body, so you don't want it all hunched up, just giving yourself space. So you can close the eyes if that feels comfortable for you. And we're going to take an inhale in through the left nostril. I'm going to count for 4. At the top of that inhale, we're going to close the left nostril with the ring finger, open the right, and exhale through the right nostril. The same count of 4. Inhale for a count of 4 through the right. Close the right, open the left, exhale. So that's 1 round. Inhale through the right, through the left. Close the left, open the right, exhale. Inhale in through the right. And exhale through the left. So 4 more rounds, no rush, coming to sit with both hands on the lap when you've completed your 4 rounds. So no rush. Coming to sit with both hands resting on the knees, maybe with the eyes closed. Bringing your awareness to your breath. Maybe noticing if there's any difference between your breathing when you started the practice and your breathing now. So keeping the eyes closed or the gaze soft, begin to warm up the spine and the body, beginning with a side stretch. So I'm going to take the left hand out to the side, so maybe you come down to the forearm, just depending on how open you're feeling in the side body. You want to be able to stay rooted down through the right hip, or you stay up on the fingertips. You can even bring a block underneath the hand or a book, just to bring the floor to you so that you're getting the best stretch that you can through the side body. So really rooted down through the right hip. We're going to inhale to raise the right arm to the sky, reaching through the fingertips, lifting up out of the hips. And as you exhale, extending over to the left, drawing the thumb back to open through the chest. And if it feels okay for the neck, maybe turning the head to look under the right arm. not, keeping the gaze and the head neutral. Feeling that expansion through the side body as we breathe here. Using your next inhale, lifting back up to center, and exhale to float the right arm to the floor. And then sliding the right arm out to the side, reaching down through the left hip. I'm going to inhale to raise the left arm to the sky, reach up through the fingertips, finding all that length. And as you exhale, reaching over to the right, drawing the thumb back to find that opening through the chest, and maybe turning the head to look under the left arm. Deep breaths here. Lovely. Using inhale to bring the arm back to center, and exhale to bring the hand back to the mat. So we're going to make our way down to lie on our backs. So make your way there however you feel comfortable, or we can roll down together. So we're going to come to the end of the mat. Sit up nice and tall, rooting down through the feet. We're going to reach the arms forward, bring the chin towards the chest, and slowly roll the spine down, feeling the length of the spine, connecting to the earth, and bring the arms down by the side. Lovely. So we're going to come into something called sacral breathing, and we're going to be working on moving, I don't know if you can see on the video, but working on extending up through the ribs and exaggerating that curve of the lower back, and then bringing the small of the back into the mat. So there's a little bit of movement here from the pelvis, lifting up through the ribs. And we're going to sync that up with our arms, if that feels comfortable, getting a little bit of movement into the shoulders as well. So the feet are flat on the floor. They can be as close to the body as feels comfortable. And then we're going to begin by inhaling to raise the arms. And as you raise the arms, tilting the pelvis forward so you feel that you've got lots of space. You can even take a hand underneath the low back. Just feel that space there. Lifting the arms up overhead and bringing them behind you to the mat. And then as you exhale, bring the hands down to the mat, tilting the pelvis so that you feel the small of the back contact the mat. There's a little bit of engagement through the legs there as well. Nice. So staying with this breath, inhale to lift the arms up, to lift up through the ribs, the pelvis tilts forward. Exhale, arms down by the side, tilting the pelvis so the small of the back comes into it. Lovely. 2 more. Nice big stretch. Nice, last one. We're going to do a very similar movement with some bridge waves, and this time the pelvis tilts the opposite way as we lift, and there's an option to lift our hips a little bit here, beginning to wake up the glutes and the legs. So maybe the feet are a little bit closer in towards the body for this, but you can kind of just have a little test by putting weight into the feet, lifting the hips, checking that feels good for the knees. And the arm movements are the same, syncing the breath in the same way. Seeing if you can match the movement for the full length of the breath. So as we inhale, we're going to tilt the pelvis this time so that the small of the back comes into the mat, and then gently pushing into the feet, lifting the hips, maybe just a little bit, raising the arms up overhead. And exhale, bringing the hips and the arms back to the floor. You can stay with the first sacral breathing if that feels better for you. It's your practice, so whatever feels best in your body. Feeling that peeling of the mat, so the spine of the mat as you inhale, and as you exhale, lowering the spine gently down to the mat. Finding that movement through the spine. Great, 1 more. And then taking the feet as wide as the mat, the knees stay wide with the knees pointing up towards the sky, coming into a supine twist. So the arms can be out to the side, you can make a sort of cactus shape, or you can even interlace the fingers behind the head, opening the elbows, bringing the shoulders to the floor. So whichever sort of feels best for your upper body. We want to stay rooted down through the shoulders, through this twist. So we're going to inhale with the knees at center. As we exhale, lower the knees to the right, rooting down through the left shoulder as we find that stretch through the left side of the body, across the front of the hip, the quad. And to get a slightly deeper sensation here, you can place the right foot on top of the left knee, just adding a bit of weight, maybe deepening that stretch across the front of the hip flexor, down the quad, still rooting down through the left shoulder. Breathing deeply here. One more breath. If the foot is on the knee, gently bringing the foot to the floor, using an inhale to bring the knees to center, and exhale to relax the body at center. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So knees still wide, feet still wide. We're going to inhale here. Exhale, begin to lower the knees towards the left. Reaching down through the right shoulder. Maybe bringing that left foot on top of the right knee. Knowing that if you place it there and it feels too much, just bringing it back to the floor. Breathing into the body. Creating space with that inhale. And softening into that space as you exhale. There's one more breath here. And then removing the foot. Bringing the knees back to center as you inhale. And exhale to relax the body. So getting a little bit of fire into our core. We're going to keep the knees bent with the feet flat on the floor. We're going to interlace the fingers behind the head. And we're looking to make a little cradle for the neck so there's no tension in the neck. So we're going to lift the elbows towards the sky. So you can lift the head just a touch and just sort of feel that you've got that support in the neck. Okay, so if you do feel any tension in the neck, then bringing the head and the shoulders back to the mat, taking a moment to relax, and then maybe joining in when you feel ready to do so, or keeping the shoulders and the head on the mat and just working with the leg part of this movement. Okay. So, finding a little tilt of the pelvis so that the small of the back is pushing into the mat. And you may already feel a little bit of engagement through the belly button into the core. Then we're going to lift the shoulders and the head with the elbows still reaching towards the sky. So you've got that nice cradle for the neck and the head. Lovely. So staying here and breathing, just checking how that feels in your body. Maybe that's enough. To go a little bit deeper, we're going to inhale here in this position. As we exhale, we're going to bring the left knee towards the elbows a little bit towards the knee, hugging the belly button in towards the spine, and then inhale to bring just the foot to the floor, keeping the head and shoulders raised. Nice. Exhale, right knee to the elbows. So we're staying quite central, and it's the knee that's coming across the body rather than the elbows to the knee. Inhale, the foot to the floor. Exhale, left knee. Really hugging the belly button in, squeezing those core muscles. Excellent. One more to each side. it. Inhale to bring the right foot to the floor, and exhale to release the head and shoulders to the mat. Release the hands. Taking nice deep breaths into the belly. And then in these moments of transitions, I'm going to invite you to begin to feel what movements your body needs to make. So maybe it naturally feels like you want to bring the knees into the chest, maybe give them a little hug, maybe roll side to side. Maybe your instincts say you want to stretch out long, have a nice big yawn. Oh, maybe a little bit of both. But there'll be a few transitions throughout this practice, and I invite you to just make the movements that your body needs. And if stillness feels right for you, then just finding that stillness. It's all about connecting us to the mind, the body, the breath. So exploring, being curious about how you are today. Great. We're going to roll over onto our side, so bending the knees, feet to the floor, rolling over onto your side. And we're going to make our way onto our hands and our knees. So if you have a blanket or a towel, you might want to place it under the knees just for a little bit of padding. It's nice to take care of our knee joints. We're going to come up onto our hands and our knees into a tabletop position. So if you have wrists that feel maybe a little bit sore, if you're weight bearing on them, then you can bring the hands forward of the shoulders. That just takes a little bit of the weight out of the wrists. It's also important to spread the fingers nice and wide and feel that you can grip the mat with the top of the fingers and begin to push the knuckle bones into the mat so that you're taking some of the weight out of the wrist. If that still doesn't feel great, then you can fold the top of the mat over, making a little cushion for the heel of the hand. So you still want to be able to grip the mat with the fingertips. Or there's also an option to come up onto the knuckles. You can place your hand on two equal size hooks. But this is the non-prop version here. And then bringing your awareness to the spine. So the tops of the feet are on the floor. We're going to tilt the tailbone subtly down to the mat so that you feel that engagement through the core. And that beam of light is pointing directly away from you to the horizon. So you've got a nice long neck. We're going to bring some movement into the spine. There's a movement called cat-cow. So you may know this one. So drawing the shoulders down the back, nice long neck. We're going to inhale to bring the belly towards the air. Bring the heart through the arms, so feel that you can really pull the heart forward, and that beam of light is going to point up to the sky as you look forward. And as you exhale, you're going to tuck the tailbone under. Bring the chin in towards the chest. Really push the mat away with the hands to create lots of space underneath the body as the beam of light points down towards the air. Nice. So inhale is cow as we bring the beam of light to the sky, belly towards the earth, heart forward. Exhale, cat as we round the back, bringing the beam of light towards the earth. Great. And seeing here if you can match the movements with your breath. So for the full length of your inhale and moving for the full length of your exhale. If that's faster or slower than how I'm moving, then that's absolutely fine. You can even add some other little movements here if you've got any tightness in the hips. Right, we're going to do one more round, so one more cow. Really pulling the heart forward and exhale, creating lots of space underneath the body as you exhale. Lovely, coming back to that neutral position. So we're going to do a little balancing, a little bit of core. So this could be a good time to place a little bit of padding under the knee as we're going to be on one knee part of this. And you feel free to pause at any point or come back to any point if it feels too much for you. So really pushing into the hands, into the fingertips, into the knuckles. Feeling that lift through the arms. So you're not collapsing into the shoulders, you're feeling that lift out the back of the shoulders. Great. Firming up the core by bringing the belly button towards the spine. We're going to take the right leg behind us, bring the toes to the mat and stretch out through the heels. So you get a nice stretch in the calf. And then bringing the weight forward into the hands and into that left knee. So you can stay here with the toes of the right foot on the floor. If you feel ready, you can raise that right leg behind you. You're just checking that the hips feel level, so you can have a look. It feels like the leg is sort of open and the hips are open. Just dialing that right hip down towards the earth. So the leg doesn't have to be lifted very high here at all. So maybe this is enough. Or if you're ready to test your balance in a little asymmetrical pose, we're going to extend the left hand forward, thumb facing up. That beam of light is pointing towards the horizon in the same direction as the fingertips as you gaze down at the mat. Extending through the fingertips, extending through the heel of the right foot, taking deep, steady breaths. And always bring the hand and the foot down to the mat at any time. Lovely. One more breath here. Really stretching. Great. Bring the hand and the knee to the mat. We're going to come into a child's pose, taking the hips towards the heels. They can stay high, they can come down towards the heels. As we stretch out through the hands, maybe bringing the forehead to rest on the mat and give our wrists a rest. So you can stretch through the fingers, making any movements with the wrist here to release any tension. Relaxing the body and preparing to do the same on the other side. So when you feel ready, coming back up into that tabletop position. Great, so beam of light pointing towards the horizon, tailbone gently tucked under so you can feel that engagement in the core. And we're going to take the left foot back, stretching out through the heels, stretching that calf muscle. And then bringing the weight forward into the hands, feeling that you've got that lift up through the hands, really pushing the mat away. Maybe staying here, maybe raising that left leg, again checking that the hips are level, checking your balance. And then if you feel ready to go further, we're going to raise the right arm this time, thumb pointing up, fingertips stretching away, beam of light from the crown of the head extending in the same direction as the fingers. And we're reaching with the hand, extending away with the foot, feeling that engagement through the core, testing our balance. Fantastic. One more breath here. And bringing the hand and the knee to the mat. One more time into that child's pose just to relax the wrists. So hips can be high, they can be low. Maybe the forehead comes to the mat. Nice deep breaths here. One more breath. And then slowly beginning to walk the hands towards the knees, although if out in front. Really stacking the spine, balance posture, and this is also one handing and you'd like to explore that variation of the pose. So the pose is eagle pose or Garandasana, and we're going to do a slight different thing with the arms today. So we're going to be practicing our hugdis. So we're going to root down through the left foot, and we're going to bend the right knee, bringing the toes to the floor. So feeling that you're really grounding down through the left foot, so that you're feeling that lift and length up through the body. So if you're in a chair, you want to sit right at the edge of the chair, Feeling that you can firmly place that left foot into the floor, and you can always raise it up on a block or a book or a cushion if the foot isn't naturally making that connection. Nice. So the next part of this pose is to raise the right knee, and then we're going to cross the leg at the thigh. So the first bit is to really squeeze the thighs together, and that right foot can just stay where it is. Maybe the toes come to the floor, you're really squeezing the thighs, maybe even tucking the toes behind the left calf. Squeezing of the thighs, and maybe the toes wrap, maybe the other toes come to the floor. So you're going to find your drishti point, something that's not moving to help you focus. You're going to find that engagement through the core, the lift up through the chest, and we're going to open the arms wide, squeezing the shoulder blades together at the back. And take a nice deep inhale here. As we exhale, the hands are going to come together in front of the body, right over left. We're going to bring them all the way around and give ourselves a big hug. So as you lead the elbows forward, that's going to give you a bigger stretch, the back of the shoulders. Lovely, one more breath. Crown of the head pointing towards the sky. Squeezing the thighs. Lovely, opening the arms, the leg out wide, releasing the pose. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. So maybe give a moment just to relax that left ankle. And then when you're ready, we're going to set up onto the right foot. So reaching down through the sole of the right foot, feeling that lift and length through the body, engaging through the core, lifting and opening the heart. And then we're going to bend the left knee, bringing the toes to the floor. When you're ready, you're going to raise the left knee, cross the legs over at the thigh, really squeezing the thighs together. So there's a very small bend here in the right knee. If you're standing, maybe the toes stay here, they can come to the floor, or you can tuck them behind the left calf. So that squeezing movement with the legs is going to help us find that energy to lift up through the body. Arms open wide, gliding the shoulder blades together at the back. Inhale here. Exhale, bring the arms in front of the body, left over right. Bring the hands all the way around to hold the shoulders, maybe the shoulder blades. And then reaching the elbows forward so you get that nice big stretch at the back of the shoulders. Nice long neck. Breathing here, squeezing those thighs together, leading those elbows forward. Fantastic. Inhale to open the arms wide, open the leg out to the side, and release and relax the body. And then one more balancing posture, which I think might be my all-time favorite pose, which is tree pose. So if you're near a wall, then you can absolutely use a wall as a little bit of support. Maybe use the back of a chair, or if you're in a chair and you want to do this seated, then you can do this posture seated as well. So we're going to begin on the left foot. We're going to bend the right knee, bring the right toes to the floor. Again, find that lift and length up through the body. So imagine you're lifting up out of the hips, you're elongating through the ribs, you're lifting the shoulders, and then, the chest, and then rolling the shoulders down the back. Lovely. And then we're going to open the right knee out to the side and place the sole of the right foot against the left ankle. And so maybe you stay here. If you're in a chair, then you can bring the ankle of the right foot to rest on top of the left knee. So you're kind of making a figure four shape. Great. So when you feel ready, you found your focus point, your drishti, you're going to begin maybe to slide that right foot up the leg. So maybe it stops at the calf. Maybe you help it up to the thigh. Use also the option to place your ankle on top of the knee for more of a figure four pose. Maybe that feels like a better opening in the front of the pelvis. Maybe that feels better stability-wise. So finding your variation of the pose. You can even keep the toes on the floor. We're going to bring the hands together in front of the heart. We're going to inhale to raise the arms to the sky, reaching up with the fingertips, finding that length in the body, and then opening the arms out wide as we exhale, spreading the fingers wide like branches of a tree. Maybe even lifting the corners of our mouth towards the ears. Taking a nice deep inhale, knowing that we're all breathing here together, standing on the same planet, breathing the air. And then bringing the hands together above the head, lowering the hands to heart center and releasing the foot to the floor. Release the arms down by the side and relax the body. So maybe bring some movement into the ankles. You can make some circles, maybe walk up and down the mat. And then time for our glorious tree on the other side. So rooting down through that left foot, bending the left knee, toes come to the mat. And then we're going to open the knee out to the left, bringing the sole of the foot to rest against the ankle. So feeling that lift, pushing the foot into the earth and at the same time lifting up away. Beam of light pointing straight to the sky. Hands come together at the heart center. So we're going to maybe keep the toes on the floor, maybe begin to explore taking that foot up the leg, maybe crossing it at top of the knee with the ankle sort of resting over, over the knee. Right. And then when you're ready, taking a nice deep inhale, finding that length through the body as we raise the arms above the head. Open the arms wide, shoulder blades drawing together at the back. Chest open, heart lifted, fingers spread wide, maybe bringing a smile to the lips, making sure that you're breathing. Lovely, one more. Bringing the hands to touch above the head, lowering the hands to the heart. Bringing the left foot to the floor and releasing and relaxing the body. So this is one of those moments of transition where I invite you to explore what your body would like at this moment in time. So maybe it's a little twist through the hips. Maybe it's walking up and down the mat just to relax the ankles. Maybe even a little bit of a toe stretch. And again, maybe even a big nice yawn or sigh. I'm going to come into a wide-legged forward fold. So I'm going to take the feet wide, so as wide as feels comfortable for you. So maybe that's wider than shoulders, maybe the stance is a little bit wider than hips. And if you have a chair handy, you can either use the seat of the chair or the back of the chair, but you want to make sure it's really stable, so I put it on your mat so it's not moving or sliding around so that you can use it for support. Or you can keep your hands at the hip. So the toes are facing forward. You can even turn them in ever so slightly if that feels like you can ground down more through the outside edges of the feet. And you want to check that you're not locking into the knees. So bending the knees and then straighten them and then find a little tiny micro bend so that you can really stretch into the muscle and not just locking the joints. So you're going to bring the hands to the hips. Tilting the pelvis so you feel the hip points moving in, the tailbone moving down. And we're going to extend up through the crown of the head. So we're really going to follow that beam of light. Nice long neck. Taking an inhale here. As we exhale, you're going to hinge at the hips, leading with the chest. So you can bend the knees as much as you need to here. That beam of light traveling towards the horizon. So you're extending out as we pause halfway. So if you're using a chair, you can be holding onto the back of the chair or placing your hands on the seat of the chair. You can keep your hands at the hips if this feels far enough for you. If you feel like you've got a little bit more space, a little bit more stretch in the legs, you're going to slowly slide the hands down the outside of the legs so that you can pause when you feel that good stretch, maybe a little bit in the inner thigh, a bit in the back of the legs. You keep the back nice and long, the neck nice and long. And maybe even continuing down a little bit further, engaging through the core, drawing the belly button towards the spine to create that space, fold. And then maybe bringing that beam of light down to the floor as you look between the legs, turning the world upside down, getting a fresh perspective. Breathing here. With one more breath. And then we're going to soften the knees. Bring the chin in towards the chest and slowly slide the hands up the legs. If you were halfway, keeping the hands at the hips and still rolling the spine up. And if you're using a chair, maybe bringing the hands to the legs so you can also slowly roll up, restacking the spine, rolling the shoulders down the back, and then slowly lifting the head last to look forward. Toes are going to either heel toe together, or you can jump the feet together. Lovely. We're going to make our way down onto the floor, lying on our fronts. So you might want to either place a blanket underneath the hip points or the pubic bone. You may even want to place a cushion or a blanket underneath the belly or the chest if lying on the front feels really uncomfortable. So coming into a little heart opener pose here with a Sphinx seal pose. So we're going to start with the tops of the feet on the mat, the feet nice and wide. Finding a little side-to-side movement in the hips. And we're going to tilt the pelvis so you feel the pubic bone pushing into the mat. So we're propped up on our forearms, and as with the tabletop position, you can make this pose a little bit less intense by taking the forearms, the elbows away from the shoulders, so you're making a longer pose, or a little bit deeper by bringing the elbows directly under the shoulders. So the fingertips are pointing forward, and we're going to imagine that we're going to slide the fingertips back without moving them to help us lift the heart through the chest. So it's a really subtle movement, but hopefully you should feel that that increases a little bit of a stretch through the front of the body. Beam of light pointing towards the sky as you draw the shoulders away from the ears. Breathing nice and deeply here. We're going to take one more breath here in Sphinx. You're very welcome to stay here if this feels like enough of a challenge working here. Or we can come up into seal pose. So we're going to take the right hand to the outside of the mat and turn it on the diagonal, so it's like a 45 degree, and then do the same with the left hand. And then gently pushing into the hands, still pushing into the tops of the feet and the pubic bone, work to begin straightening the arms. So maybe they just straighten a little bit, maybe you can bring them to full extension. Keep bringing the heart forward, extending through the crown of the head. I'm going to take 2 more breaths here, either in Sphinx or in your variation of seal. Fantastic. And then slowly bring the elbows down to the mat, and then continuing all the way down, making a little pillow with the hands, bringing the big toes together, heels out to the side, maybe giving the hips a little shimmy. If there's any tension in the lower back, you can bend the knees and take the feet side to side, the little prone twist. Great. Bringing the feet to the floor, bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, forehead to the mat. We're going to push into the hands, come up onto the knees, and take a moment in a child's pose stretch. Maybe the hips stay high, maybe the hips low. Seeing what feels like a really good stretch through your body. And then we're slowly going to bring the hands towards the body, restack the spine, and come to sit with the legs out in front. taking a moment just to feel that connection through the sit bones, extending the spine nice and long as we come into a restorative forward fold variation. So if you are really looking for a hamstring stretch, then you can do this pose with the legs straight. But today, I would take the opportunity to make a more restorative variation of this posture. So if you feel like forward folding, that you feel that you can't breathe, just as if you lie on the floor, you feel a bit constricted, then you can bring a cushion or a prop on top of the knees, just to kind of give yourself a little bit more space. So we're all going to reach down through the sit bones, find that length in the spine. Inhale to reach the arms to the sky, feel that you can really lift up out of the hips. And then exhale, hinge at the hips, come forward, reaching with the hands so that you're really getting a nice stretch in the back. And then bring the hands to the mat, the chest, the belly resting against the thighs. You can even bring the hands underneath the knees and hold the elbows just to add a little bit more of a shoulder opener. And then allow the head to bow, releasing any tension in the neck. Finding your breath here. Using this forward fold as a nice opportunity, a little bit of inward reflection, checking in with yourself. Observing sensations or thoughts and acknowledging them without trying to change them. Just taking one more breath here. And then releasing the hands, bringing the chin in towards the chest. Slowly rolling the spine up, rolling the shoulders down the back. Stacking heart over hips, head over heart. We're going to be making our way down to the mat for our supported fish. So having either your block or your blanket, and if you're using a blanket or towel, you're going to roll it into a sausage and place it along the short edge of the mat. I'm going to come to lie down over the blanket, and it's going to be coming to the sort of the mid part of the upper back so that the arms come over the top, so the blanket's coming out underneath the armpits. So slowly making your way down to the mat, positioning yourself over your prop. If you're using a block, you'll want it on the lowest setting maybe. And then opening the chest as you bring the head to the floor. So if that feels too high, then you can bring another blanket or cushion underneath the head. You can roll your mat over, maybe you've got a jumper you can place underneath it. So the arms are out to the side. The feet can stay on the floor with the knees bent, and maybe bringing the knees to touch in the center just to take any tension out of the lower back. If you feel that you could do with a little bit more hip opening, you can bring the soles of the feet together and the knees down towards the floor in a variation of Supta Baddha Konasana or our reclined cobbler's pose. So finding some deep breaths here in supported fish. Feeling that heart space opening. Feeling maybe open and receptive here. being supported by the earth beneath you. The eyes can be closed or maybe looking up at the sky. Staying with the breath, you can feel your mind begins to wander. Gently nudging it back to the body, to the breath, helping us to stay connected in this moment in time together. We're going to take 2 more rounds of breath. Then we're going to slowly bring the feet to the floor with the knees bent. And then if your blanket isn't too high, keeping part of the head in contact with the mat, you can roll over onto your side so that you can lift up to remove the blanket. If it's a little bit higher, you may want to bring the chin in towards the chest so that you can then bring weight into the elbows and the forearms to roll the spine up. You'll be coming into Shavasana. Is there anything here that you would like to do to make this final relaxation the most comfortable it can be? That's with a blanket, maybe you use an eye pillow. Again, if there's any movements you need to make here, stretching through the body, maybe hugging your knees into the chest. And then coming to relax with the legs out long, maybe the arms stand by the side, maybe the hands rest on the belly. Closing the eyes or softening the gaze. Feeling the earth beneath you, completely supporting you. Allowing the weight of the body to rest and relax completely against the earth. I'd like to guide you through a yoga nidra. I invite you to mentally repeat each phrase after me. I relax my toes, feet and ankles. My toes, feet and ankles are relaxed. Relax my shins, calves and knees. My shins, calves and knees are relaxed. Relax my thighs, hips and glutes. My thighs, hips and glutes are relaxed. Relax my lower, middle and upper back. My lower, middle and upper back are relaxed. I relax my stomach, abdomen and ribs. My stomach, abdomen and ribs are relaxed. Relax my hands, arms and elbows. My hands, arms and elbows are relaxed. Relax my shoulders, chest and neck. My shoulders, chest and neck are relaxed. Relax my mouth, chin and jaw. My mouth, chin and jaw are relaxed. Relax my nose, cheeks and ears. My nose, cheeks and ears are relaxed. Relax my eyes, temples and forehead. My eyes, temples and forehead are relaxed. And relax my mind. My mind is relaxed. Whole body relax. 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 Actually begin to deepen the breathing, bringing awareness back to the body. Bringing small movements to the body, joining the thumb and the index finger together and gently rubbing them. The thumb and the middle finger. The thumb and the ring finger. The thumb and the pinky. Stretching through the fingers, wiggling the toes, stretching through the arms and legs. Having a nice big yawn or sigh. And then bending the knees, rolling over onto your side and pausing for a moment to give yourself a little hug, to thank yourself for your practice today. and to feel at peace with whatever you found on the mat. When you're ready, slowly making your way to a seated position, maybe on a chair, against a wall, sitting on a block. Restacking the spine, bringing heart over hips, head over heart. I'd like to chant a short seed mantra, bija. It roughly translates from Sanskrit as, "May all inhabitants of the world be happy and free." So the words are Loka, Samasta, Sukhinu, Bhavantu. And just before chanting that mantra, I invite us to use our yogic practice, the feelings of love and connection that we harness on the mat, the strength and the flexibility of our minds and our bodies, towards taking action to make this mantra true, working towards a world where all beings are happy and free. So I'm going to chant them 3 times. I invite you to join me if you'd like to. Loka samasta sukhinu bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhinu bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhinu bhavantu. And sealing the practice with an Om, taking a deep inhale to prepare. Bringing the hands together in front of the heart. Om Namah Shivaya. With a bow of gratitude. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of the house party weekend. Taking this time to connect together across the world and helping to raise some funds for the amazing and important work that Uwamu are doing in Kampala, Uganda. So thank you, take care, and maybe even see you soon. Bye.
Greetings from Kampala, everyone there, everyone in the UK, the ones I've made, the ones I've not made. I love you. This is Together in Kampala from the Women of Wise. Say they love you all. We're a small group of like 12 women, 10 volunteers plus 2 staffs. So we've done some work as frontliners here in Kampala in Wise slums to make sure that children survive from this COVID-19 response. Our priority was to make sure the children survive. The most vulnerable children in our community survive. By doing this, we encourage them to stay safe, stay at home. Since lockdown started, we've helped more than 2,500 children and the most vulnerable children in our community. Because of your support, our community volunteers have managed to reach out and distribute the following: food, medicine, learning materials, and the protective gears like the masks and the disinfectants. The government has not eased the lockdown to the community level. It has eased the lockdown for the middle class people. The impact of lockdown is mainly going to be on women, children, and their family members. For the mothers, it's worse because what they have been doing, they live in the poorest situations, that even the small they have been earning is no longer there. The mothers, the poorest mothers and their children have been impacted so much that the mothers are not working and the children are not going to school also, because at school, at least they could get porridge and food during lunchtime. But right now they stay home the whole day. The mothers are not working. So what some of the challenges you've got, that some of the children have resorted to looking for small labor jobs in the community. The most worried about the children not getting food are those children on antiretroviral treatment. Because if you get 1 meal a day and you're on drugs, you can't manage, and adherence will be very poor. The reason why we always talk about children on medicine, because with medicine it's very hectic and it's very unpredictable. That when you take the medicine, you need something to supplement it with. If there is no food, the next thing you will die. So it has to be accompanied with food. The medicine and food, medicine and food. We love listening to Papa Radio at Awamu in Kampala. We love you, we love you, we love, keep donating to us. We love you, bye.